friends, how are you? Welcome back to my channel. And of course, in today's video, you guys already know it, we are going to have another one of our dramione fanfiction recommendation. I have actually intended for this video to be another one of the random dramione recommendation video, but after I put together the list, I then realized that every single piece of work that I put in this video share one element in which Draco and Hermione are in some type of secret connection. They are in some kind of situationship. Whether or not they want to define their little thing as a relationship or not, they do keep that little thing a secret among their friends and loved ones. I think what influenced my subconsciousness to put together this list is the fact that I'm reading a fic that is along the same vein. I am currently reading Nectar by Violet Nair and I'm in love with every second of it, and I'm gonna talk to you guys about it for sure. But now that we have kind of have a theme going on, let's head into some of the story that I really love today. First recommendation that we have in this video for today is my most prized one-shot when it comes to dramione fanfiction. It's my most beloved, my most favorite one-shot ever. And in fact, when I was putting together this video, the reason why I wanted to do a random recommendation video is so that I can recommend this fic to you guys. And we have Best Shot by Akio Miu. This story opened up for us in 8th year where Hermione received a visit from her future self. So we have an older Hermione coming back in time asking the 8th year Hermione to make some changes to the timeline so that the future Hermione can save her husband Draco Malfoy from dying. I don't know about you guys, but when I first came across that little synopsis, I cannot not read the story. This story will just bring you from one delightful surprise to the next because the timeline is non-linear. So while we stay mainly in 8th year where the future Hermione tries to meddle and give her old self advices, we also get to see glimpses from the past as well of how Draco and Hermione come together, of their close relationship and the depth of care that they have for each other. If you guys know me, you guys already know how much of a sucker I am for dramione moments and dramione details, and this story is one of my most prized piece when it comes to dramione details because we have an abundance of details that are just precious, unique, and will live in your heart forever. Some of these details in this story are just laminated in my head and I would just randomly get reminded of them. Akio Miu write Until the Ink Run Dry, which is one of the most popular fic in the dramione community. So if you have read Until the Ink Run Dry and you are in love with their writing, I would recommend Best Shot any day of the week. If you haven't had a chance to read any Akio Miu work, I advise you to immediately start with Best Shot with any of their work. You will have such a good time. Just pick any one of their work and you will have a good time. I love everything about their work. The writing is super polished and the attention to detail is crazy. Details in which I already expressed my feelings about. The way that they write the romance between Draco and Hermione is just one of the most delightful that I have ever encountered in the community. And I also love how Draco and Hermione seems to be friends, seem to be soulmate more than just lovers, because it just makes my heart swoon. I remember I was kind of in a reading slump when I first came across Best Shot, so it's just kind of like a savior for me. And maybe because of that, every feelings that I feel about this story are intensified, but it doesn't take away from the fact that this is among the masterpiece of the community. And if you have not read this story yet, please go ahead and do so. I promise you, I guarantee you that you will have a good time. Promise. Next is also a story that is among my beloved, and it is The Twin Pages by Dark of the Moon. I got reminded of this story because I was talking to you guys about Dramione Park by Dark of the Moon in my recent TBR video, and I just cannot not recommend The Twin Pages now that I have the opportunity. So this story starts off for us at the start of Hogwarts actually, where Draco and Hermione are secret pen pals. So they exchange letters and books with one another without knowing the identity of their pen pal. Throughout the years in this story, you will see how their relationship blossom and how their affection for one another grow. And at the same time, I feel like what they share in this story is even more sacred and even more precious than what they share in Best Shot because they have to keep this whole thing under wraps. One thing about Dark of the Moon is that she will never disappoint you the way that she writes Draco, Hermione, and the romance between them. Something about the romance between Draco and Hermione are just so soft but at the same time so fierce. You will have no doubt that they love each other so much and they would do anything to keep the other person safe, but at the same time, like their soft touches, their moment, their shared little intimacy would just make your heart swoon. So actually she just write the manifestation of my own headcanon for Draco and Hermione in the way that they love each other, which is why I love Dark of the Moon stories so dearly. So of course Between Pages is not an exception, and it is actually my favorite work when it comes to Dark of the Moon too. Now that I talked to you guys about this story, it reminds me so much of Osculum Annum by My Delphi. I know that a lot of you guys in the comments have said that you love Osculum Annum by My Delphi, so I would recommend checking out this story too, and I love this story so much. Next we have something a little bit different because actually in this story they did define their little thing as a relationship even though they want to keep it a secret. we have Forgot to Mention by Wet Pretzel. This story is a 7-year story, but it's in an alternative universe where there is no war. So the most pressing concern for these young adults is the fact that there is a Quidditch match between Slytherin and Gryffindor tomorrow. And canonically, we have Draco and Harry going against each other as Seeker, and of course, none of them is going to lose to the other person. So when Draco had the opportunity to catch the snitch and beat Harry for the first time in forever, he actually didn't, because Hermione Granger has received a bludger to her chest. I actually quickly skimmed through this story and did a quick reread when I was drafting this video for you guys, and I feel every single emotion that I have felt when I first read the story. This is actually a quick little read. It only has a little bit above 5,000 words, but it's going to be so delightful. We have super interesting banter and conversation between the Gryffindors in this story, and the fact that I get to see them outside of the war doing stupid teenager things is like so precious to my heart. And obviously we have super soft interaction between Draco and Hermione too. I love their dialogue and I love how they touch one another. We talked about this, you guys already know how much I love all of those soft touches, of the hand to the jawline, like finger on the cheekbone type of things, visiting each other in the infirmary. This story has it all. This story pack a punch. It will give you such a laugh with all of the Gryffindor conversation. It will give you such a laugh when Draco and Hermione is found out by Harry and Ron, but it will also make your hearts melt with all of the interaction between Draco and Hermione too. Overall, I just feel like this is one of the best candidates for a bedtime story because it will just make you go to sleep smiling like a loon. Next, we have one of the most beautifully written stories that I have ever had the opportunity to read, and we have They Shall Not Be Named by LandBRT. I talked to you guys about this story in my summer TBR, and I dare even say that this is one of the best summer reads that I've had this year. This story started out for us with Draco and Hermione being a little bit older, and they have been in a secret relationship. They are actually cursed to never be able to be together again. So throughout this story, you will follow them through their journey of undoing the curse and obviously come to one of the most deserving and hard-fought happy ending there are. Even though this story is set post-war and there is no danger looming over their head, it makes me scared for them all the same. I wanted to continue reading the story because I wanted to see if they get the happy ending that they so deserve. LandBRT is a wizard or witch when it comes to writing, just because of how beautifully written, how lyrically written this story is. I love every single word in this storyline, and I almost wanted to screenshot everything, every single chapter of the story. The way that Draco and Hermione love each other in this and the situation that they are in almost put me in a whipping mess. And what I love about this story even more is the fact that all of their friends came together to help them. It highlights so much of the friendship aspect that I wanted to read in Dramione fanfiction as well. Everything about this story makes me very emotional, and I think the right word to describe this story is that it's very heartfelt, it's very touching. This story is short too, it's only under 80,000 words if I remember correctly, but it has such a profound impact on me. But I do need to warn you, I received a message from one of you guys saying that you didn't like the story because of how much time Draco and Hermione spent apart in this story. But I urge you to read this story all the same because it's something that I don't come across that often. Very high quality, polished work, such beautiful timeline, and the romance is just top notch even though they are cursed to be apart. Everything about this story is just so worth it. Last recommendation that we have on this list is a Galfoy work. So I'm back on my Galfoy track again, but we have 30 Times Lucky by Galfoy. So this story started out for us because the war had dragged on for years and the Order is desperate. So they have planned Hermione Granger into the Malfoy Corporation as a spy. So Draco and Hermione strike a deal with one another, coming together into a relationship of convenience where each of them gain a little bit of something from the other person. The reason why I wanted to recommend this story to you guys, partly because they do share a secret connection, a secret something in this story, but partly because I realized I never talk about 30 Times Lucky on my channel. Even though I rave about other Galfoy story, I just feel like 30 Times Lucky didn't get enough screen time on my channel. And I was also on a rereading kick in July, so I was going back and reading every single one of Galfoy work, and I fell in love once again with 30 Times Lucky. I would say that this story is on the more enemy to lover side among Galfoy story. I dare even say that it's one of the darker story or the darker relationship development between Draco and Hermione among Galfoy story, but because of the fact that it's so different from her other development, I feel like this story stands out so much for me personally. The pace of this story is very quick, and it's also a shorter story as well, so you will get to finish this story in just one go. The story gives me a very fan fiction vibe. Like, it almost makes me feel nostalgic. It almost brings me back to my middle school day when I was reading fanfiction on like Wattpad or on the internet. It has a lot of elements that I would associate with fanfiction that I adore even from the first days that I was reading fanfiction. Galfoy writing may not compare to the other pilots in the community, but her story have always touched me very differently. It had always reached the deepest corners in my heart and always make me feel some sort of emotion, which is why I'm so attached to Galfoy and every single one of her stories. Overall, you guys already know how much I love Galfoy and her story and how much I've advocated for you guys to go ahead and read a Galfoy story before, but I do feel like 30 Times Lucky is based off of my own personal subjective emotions about this story. I wanted you guys to read the story because I love it, period. That's the end of the video for today. We have 5 stories which are gonna mainly share some sort of little thing, and the main thing I would say is that I am a sucker for all those soft touches, for all those soft moments. You guys already know it. We talk about it in many of my videos before, but I hope that you guys have a good time hanging out with me today, and I hope that you enjoy the story that we have. Go ahead and rave about them in the comment down below, okay? And I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.